What if you could win a multi-million-dollar lawsuit before it even officially exists? Well, today, we're going to look at a platform that's designed to do exactly that. It's all about shifting mass tort litigation from being reactive to being predictive. Let's dive in.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. In the world of mass torts, timing is absolutely everything. See, by the time a big case makes the news, the market is already flooded. Law firms are left scrambling for the same clients, while the few firms that got there first, they've already locked up the best cases and are basically setting the rules for everyone else. So, that brings us to the really big question, right? What if you could stop chasing the herd and actually start leading it? What if there was a system that could alert you to the next major mass tort? Not months after everyone knows, but months, or get this, even years before the very first lawsuit is ever put on file.
All right, so to really get why this new approach is such a big deal, we first need to talk about the old way of doing things, what we can call the litigation gold rush. It's this endless reactive cycle where the rewards just keep getting smaller and smaller. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, you have the traditional methods. You're waiting for an FDA announcement. You're reading a trade journal. All information that, by definition, is old news. But on the right, you see the proactive model. This is where you get that critical first-mover advantage. We're not talking about just joining a lawsuit. We're talking about defining the litigation from the very beginning. So how in the world do you get that first-mover advantage? Well, this is where the NextMassTort platform comes in. And it's not just some fancy research tool. The folks behind it describe it as a competitive intelligence weapon, one that's designed to pinpoint emerging torts with, well, statistical certainty. And look, let's talk about the proof. Take the Elmeron litigation. The system flagged the link between that drug and maculopathy way before it was a well-known mass tort. So what was the result? A massive head start for the firms using it. Now let that number sink in for a second. 436 days. That is over a full year of lead time before the very first lawsuit was even filed. I mean, that's an incredible, almost an unfair advantage. So how does it actually work? I mean, it's not magic, right? It's a really sophisticated analytical engine, and it's all built on a proprietary 3-tier scoring system. So let's pop the hood and break down the engine behind these predictions. So the system looks at every potential tort by asking 3 basic questions. And these are the same questions every single seasoned trial lawyer would ask. First, can we actually prove this? Second, is it worth the time and money? And third, and this one's crucial, where do we file to have the best shot at winning?
Okay, the first hurdle is the causation score. This is all about the science. The platform uses what's called the Bradford-Hill criteria, which is the same standard that courts and expert witnesses use to find a scientifically defensible link between a product and an injury. So a high score here means the science is strong enough to survive a Dubert challenge, a key legal test for evidence, and that is huge for winning a trial. All right, next up is the litigation score. This is where we move from the lab into the boardroom. Is this case actually viable as a business? The platform is analyzing the potential number of cases, it's digging for evidence of corporate misconduct, checking for past regulatory actions, and even looking at whether the defendant has deep enough pockets to actually pay a major settlement.
And finally, we have the venue score. Filing in the right court can make or break a case. This score crunches the data on different jurisdictions to find the absolute best place to file. We're talking about federal multi-district litigation, or MDLs, or state versions like New Jersey's MCL or California's JCCP. It basically gives you a strategic roadmap to control the litigation right from the start. Okay, so now we get how the engine works. Let's look at what it actually produces. This is where that raw data, that signal, gets turned into a real-world decisive advantage. Now this is a total game changer. The second a tort is flagged as viable, the system automatically starts drafting the motions to consolidate the case in the best possible venue. This lets a firm file first and immediately start positioning itself for a leadership role before most competitors even know there's a case to be had. And a platform is also a ridiculously powerful marketing tool. By identifying these geographic hotspots where potential clients are clustered, firms can use their advertising money with surgical precision. It just dramatically increases the return on that investment. And of course, it's all about the financial intelligence. The system projects out the potential number of claimants and what the estimated total settlement value could be. This gives firms the hard data they need to decide which fights are actually worth fighting. The results really do speak for themselves, and you start to see a consistent pattern. For Elmeron, we saw that 436-day advance warning. For the big Ozempic litigation that's happening now, the system gave a 352-day head start.
And the track record just keeps going. Taxotere, a 225-day warning. Xarelto, an unbelievable 520 days. That's nearly a year and a half ahead of the curve. So you see, this isn't some lucky guess. It is a repeatable, proven system.
So, with a system this powerful, you're probably wondering, how does a law firm actually get access to it? Well, that brings us to the business model, which is frankly just as innovative as the technology itself.
So for a few select firms, they offer this unique co-development partnership. It works like this: a much lower upfront fee in exchange for a back-end referral or co-counsel fee. This totally aligns the incentives. It means both the provider and the law firm are in it together, which lets firms tap into this amazing intelligence with way less upfront capital.
This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? It's a fundamental shift both in mindset and in strategy. And it kind of leaves us with one final question. In an industry where timing is literally everything, what is the true value of being able to see the future?